Hello and welcome back to the channel. More talk about other things. So, in my quest to become relevant in some aspects so I can have some kind of passive income, or at least someone to view my ramblings and say, that was pretty neat, with or without monetary compensation, I have started to remod Skyrim Special Edition. Not doing Oblivion because that's a game I have to buy again. I'm still playing my old version of Oblivion, and I still like it. I'm playing on the Xbox with it too, Xbox 360. Yes, my Xbox 360 still works, and I had all the downloads for Oblivion on it, even though I had to mess around with it to get them all active again by re-downloading the Game of the Year edition disc. It's a whole process. I'll go into depth on exactly what I did another time. But Skyrim itself is a fun game. So one thing that if y'all are new to modding games, especially with Oblivion and whatnot, Oblivion Remastered, and other people going through and trying to mod Skyrim for like the 12th time, or the first time in a long time, or the first time period, when it comes to modding games at all, is that you need to have a healthy attachment to not deleting mod files, or at least backing up entire mods you download. So that way you can uninstall them without getting rid of them entirely. The reason for this is, for some reason, the people who make mods are very finicky when it comes to political change, or not having things go exactly the way they want to, and they take it out on anyone and everyone who ever used their mod. The perfect example of this is a mod for original Skyrim called War Zones. This was a mod that made the Civil War questline the Civil War in general for Skyrim so much more than what it actually was. It had battlefields you could wander onto that had active battles going on that would not end until the Civil War was ended. You could download I think someone made a patch at some point that made it where the battlefields continue forever, even if the Civil War questline ends. And you could do little objectives on those battlefields to help your side take over that battlefield, which would also lock it out as well. Unfortunately, the mod author in the great Spurgout of 2016 that tore ripples through the internet, Trump became president-elect. And when that happened, the mod author of Warzones decided to take down all his mods and leave a message to everyone, letting them know that because Donald Trump is president, he does not feel like anyone deserves his mods anymore, and to essentially screw ourselves. Very nice guy. Well, someone, by the grace of God Almighty, managed to still have the mods installed for Warzone, and he can mod himself. So he began modding Warzone himself and reintroduced it to Skyrim. Unfortunately, the Wizard of Mod author of Warzones kept taking down the version that was for Skyrim, so he had to rename it. And then on Skyrim Special Edition, I believe it's the same person, might be a different person entirely, redid Warzones how it was supposed to be, but better now. More stuff's been added to it. Scouts, assassins, extra troops, minotaurs, giants, frost trolls, artillery strikes with the trebuchets and whatnot. And it's just a much bigger thing than it was in original Skyrim. It might be a different person who made this mod, but either way, Warzone shows that because one thing changing in the real world, it affects so many other things when it comes to a mod. mod being taken down, someone bringing it back, another person taking the original work and then making it better for the new version of the game, and so on. That's one thing that continues. Another example of this mod, when you go to mod any game in general, is when a mod's been abandoned. There's always mods that get abandoned. They get made, they get released, and that's it. The mod's out. If the game constantly gets updates, like unfortunately Skyrim, Fallout, and now Oblivion are going to get constantly for various reasons. Some mods become unusable. They don't work anymore because something got changed in the game, so something won't work. This happens all the time. And it's times like that when you either have to hope that the mod author comes back and fixes it, someone else comes by and fixes it, or someone makes a patch that you can download that fixes it, or you just use it anyway and hope it doesn't break your game too much. Wearable lanterns suffer this fate. For the longest time, wearable lanterns was not really useful, not really usable on Skyrim Special Edition. It required a Papyrus add-on mod to get it working. Even then, now I have problems with it to a point where I can't actively run it on my game without it having issues. So I just had to remove wearable lanterns altogether. It could be conflicting with other mods I have, but I never had problems with wearable lanterns when it was in base Skyrim. Stuff happens. Other issues that come up is mods just simply not working because they're from a different version of the game. Skyrim suffers a lot because you have several different versions of Skyrim to play with. Two different mod sections. Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition, but Special Edition includes Special Edition and Anniversary. Some mods require you to have Anniversary files. Not everybody does. I don't. And then some of the best mods I've ever played are still stuck in base Skyrim because I don't understand the process to move them over. Unfortunately, a lot of the videos that I see to show you how to do things like that, either I'm just too stupid to understand how they work, or because they're as old as they are, that method doesn't work anymore. A lot of videos I watch are trying to get this. It's a quest line that lets you basically make prayer chants that you go to different dungeons, make your own chant, and they can use that to give you different powers throughout the day. It gives you a little Temple of the Nine that's off in the middle of nowhere, Skyrim. You go gather pieces to bring the temple back to life. All kinds of little things. It's more of a flavor mod that adds extra stuff for you to go do. I can't use it in Skyrim Special Edition because no matter how many times I've tried to convert it over to Skyrim Special Edition from Base Edition, it just crashes. It crashes the game and everything else. I don't know how to fix it. I'm sure I could figure it out if I could dedicate enough time to do it or find the right videos, but the videos I was using to try to convert it over were, at that time I found them, 2 years old. And that was several years ago. So the ones I keep having to go back to, because the ones that actually explain the most, they don't have Vortex. And I can't go back and get the old version of Nexus Mod Manager because that doesn't exist anymore. There's always something when it comes to modding. One thing to keep in mind when you do mod your games is, unless you know roughly what you're installing and how it affects things, this is something you develop over time due to modding a lot, or just having a great understanding of different systems and how they game knowledge, I guess, game programming knowledge. You kind of know that if you install this mod and you install that mod, there's going to be a crash somewhere. This is the case of many bigger mods. great example is Skyrim cities expanded, expansion, or redone. I can't remember the exact name of it, but there's 2 mods. Skychild, which adds a bunch of things involving the shout and the Thune and quest lines and altars. You can go get more pieces of different. You can get more shouts from, or upgrades to different shouts. And then Skyrim City expansion. Dawnstar, where everything goes bad. See, there's a statue that in Skychild is the statue's right there on the edge of town. But if you get the mod that expands cities, and you have Dawnstar expanded, that statue takes the same place as a building. The two can't exist together, and they crash the game as soon as you get close to them. So as soon as you get close to that, one of the objects will load in, it crashes your game. That includes looking in that direction, crash your game. The fix to this was a patch where someone figured out that was a problem, and they moved the Skychild statue a little bit. They just moved it slightly. That's all they did. Fixed the problem. You started Wayne Bash everything else, which, by the way, is a tool you should get. Wayne Bash is something I downloaded years ago. And to find out how to use it, I had to find a video from 2010? Yeah, 2010, on how to use Wayne Bash. Why Bash? I call it Wayne Bash. It's W-Y-R-E, Bash. That tool is amazing. It gets things to work together that normally wouldn't work together. So instead of having to go find compatibility patches for everything you want to download, you can roll the dice and use this program, and it basically makes a lot of mods that take the same spots, or have assets that are shared areas and shared mechanics, and forces them to work together. Sometimes it works great, other times it's a little bit clunky. For instance, spawn, having a lot of different monster spawns, because for some reason I like to add a bunch of stuff in Skyrim so I'm almost always in a fight. It can be hectic, because now the Bash patch can potentially have it where multiple enemies are using the same spawn point. So instead of getting one or the other, you get every possible enemy that could spawn at that point. So let's say you're in the middle of the forest and a spawn area could spawn a bear or a wolf. Then you have a mod that uses the same spawn point that could spawn a giant tree elemental. And another mod you have installed could spawn a giant forest spider that spits acid. Not poison, acid. That breaks down your armor. Well, now instead of having one of those choices, Bash can say, you're getting everything at once. Have fun. And I have done that. I've experienced that firsthand, of everything hitting me all at once. And it's terrifying from a game. It's terrifying from just enjoying the gameplay, and then also you get ambushed by everything known to man. And that's always a fun time. It also fixes a few other things, like certain armor mods not quite working well together because it takes one mod. Author decides to make a replacement mod for a set of armor. So instead of having a reskin of the, let's say, iron armor, they make a new version of the iron armor that replaces the original version. So the original version no longer exists. It's not retextured. It's a complete replacement. The Bash patch can make it where the original version and the modded replacement can exist at the same time in the game files without a compatibility patch. Compatibility patch is always more useful than Bash patch, but it's the fact that you're not always going to find a compatibility mod. That's the main issue. But right now, I spent way too much time last night trying to get a mod to work that was made for the original Skyrim, but the author said that it can work for the new Skyrim. Download manually and install it. That was a mod called Mana Tanks. It's a dumb mod. and my goal is to eventually get it working for all NPCs through brute forcing it onto NPCs instead of on my character. I don't think that's happening anytime soon, but we'll get what's about time. So I haven't installed this mod since the original Skyrim, where I got it working pretty easy. It's it takes assets on the female character and makes it where they get small when low on a resource and large when high on a resource. It's a dumb little mod. The reason I'm doing it is because I want a gimmick for my streams on Twitch, on TikTok, and YouTube. Probably gonna multi-stream if I can as well. Might even try to multi-stream on a Kick too. That's popping off too. Just anything and everything to try to keep people's attention. That's why I wanted to try to get onto NPCs. So I probably have to learn modding in order to do that. But one step at a time. Now, the concept I'm running with is the problem I'm running into is when I first installed the mod, it made it where my CBBE mod, which I had set to never nude, stripped the clothes off, but it didn't give them any genitals or anything else. So basically, it retextured the underwear to be the same. It retextured the underwear to be the skin of the character, but didn't because it never installed anything to give them any other kind of genitalia or any other assets that a normal new mod would do in Skyrim. It was just completely smooth and weird looking. Honestly great for streaming because technically it's not nudity, it's a Ken doll, essentially, or Barbie doll. But not ideal. I finally figured out the issue, and I had to reinstall quite a few mods to get things to come back to where the character is no longer nude, actually wears underwear again, like they're supposed to. But the mod itself the Mana Tanks mod does not work properly. It says it's working and running, but the effects don't work. Unfortunately, there's so little documentation on this mod working and or issues with it that it's hard to actually pin down what went wrong and how to fix it. Two options I have. One is probably a surefire thing to either work or not work, and I can just drop it from there. The other one is more experimental and more like what I'm going to be doing anyway, because figuring out workarounds for mods that I think should work together but don't is fun to me with my limited knowledge and what little tools I have to work with that I can actually understand how to use. So, scouring different forums, I found one in which person says we're talking about the mod back in 2023. Mind you, the original mod came out in 2015. So this mod is now 10 years old. Just about to be 10 years old in a few months. They said they got working at Skyrim Special Edition by installing a different version of CBBE. Those you actually mod most of Bethesda games, you know what that stands for. If you don't, go to Nexus and look it up, and make sure but you're going to have an account in order to see what's going on there, because it is considered an adult mod. I'm not telling you to go do it, make an account and do it. Use Safe Search, honestly. If you're underage, use Safe Search. I recommend that over anything else, because there's a lot of even though Nexus is pretty much the gathering hub and where things kind of hang out and just hang out there. Oh look, I got a thing there for fetch. Yay. There's still mods you shouldn't really. There's gonna be mods on Nexus, even though it's more tame than other websites, that if you're not prepared to look at, it's best not to have the adult content enabled. Unfortunately, that covers a lot of stuff. Like I think Undeath counts as an adult mod. Maybe. At least, no, it's not Undeath. It's some kind of adventure mod that adds just a bunch of blood and gore and horror, decapitation, just anything and everything that could that would be flagged as an M rating or an adult rating movie without any nudity. There are mods that do that. But yeah, my adventure took way too long last night. I was up until the very wee hours of the morning trying to get this series of mods to work together, and I finally just called it a day. I'll call it an evening, and I turned the computer off. Either tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to try again to get the mod working. I have one more Hail Mary to try, which is to download the alternate version of the CBBE and try to get it worked that way. If that doesn't work, the only other way I can try to do it is make a second profile, install the bare bones what I need to test the mod out with, and keep trying different body types until I get one that works. And then redo everything. Well, basically, uninstall what I currently have, body type wired on my main profile for modding, and then install the versions that I actually need. But that depends if I can find. It depends. It becomes more of a test of how patient am I. Am I patient enough to do all this just to get one mod to work? I've done worse. It all comes down to how much I'm willing to give this a shot. And that's ultimately what it is. I might go back and look at I might end up going back and looking up, see if I still have all the no, I don't have the profile from my original Skyrim. I just remembered I don't have that anymore. I deleted it. Oh no. Huh. I'll have to go back and see my original Skyrim download history and see if I can put together what I had installed to make some mods work. Once again, this is literally just a mod to attract people to keep to a stream, and that's all it's made to do. And if I get an audience based on that, I can actually start going more into how I normally mod my game, which is pseudo horror, just nonstop horror with some world building capabilities. For instance, my Fallout 4 game I was streaming for a while back, last year or so, around this time last year. It was modded by a lot. That's one thing. But unfortunately, even Fallout 4 stuff the same thing. Even though there's no major things, just constant updates from Bethesda and a few other things here and there. Some mods are just unavailable can't be used now. That's always the thing, though. But the Fallout 4 mod list is dedicated more to horror theme. I have what was it? I had Quiet Hills, which is a Silent Hill mod thing. So everything's foggy and monsters appear everywhere. It's just a straight up horror. I turned the entire game to a straight up horror. I had more stuff to give me a fighting chance, and I changed the leveling system to be more reminiscent of Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. Even had a few traits in there, I think. And added a questline mod that makes it where it gives me a fifth choice to end the game with instead of choosing Institute, Brotherhood, Railroad, or the Minutemen. I have a fifth choice, and that's a choice I can go do. It's built into like 3 different DLCs. Well, not DLCs, mods. And I have to eventually go through and play that. Eventually I do have to play Fallout 4 all the way through at some point, because I've never gotten all the way through the story mode before I got bored or I had issues. My first playthrough, I was just doing a lot of stuff and leveling up, getting very far into the quest line. I think I was I think I was only like 10 quests. I wasn't that far away from being able to complete the main story. I was really close to it. Unfortunately, I logged on, I went to play the game one day, and all the enemies started running from me. I didn't download any mods at the time. There were no mods. There really weren't any mods to download because the gig hadn't come out yet. So I tried fixing it by increasing difficulty. Nothing. So I eventually had to put that save on hold until modding came out, which wasn't for another month. And I said, okay, never mind then. And that's the farthest I've got in the story because of a bug appearing that caused every enemy to run from me. I could not complete some quests that required me to kill certain enemies because they would just book it. Because they're running from me, I'm always in combat. So I just couldn't really do much of anything. I don't know what caused it that happen, but it was not the funnest thing. So I made a new character, and I just never really progressed forward after that point. I just kept making new characters. Skyrim is another Skyrim and Oblivion are both games that I've played through once completely, up until it came to the DLCs. Both of them second major DLC is where I don't finish. In Oblivion, it was Shimmering Isles. It might have been because I had my contrast up too high on my TV, or at least for the game, so I couldn't see that well in Shimmering Isles. And so I just never really completed it. I think I played most of my original playthrough of Oblivion as a vampire because it was the best way for me to actually see the enemies in front of me and see what was going on. That is how I played. But got to Shimmering Isles, did Knights of the Nine, did all the DLC I could, got all the houses, and then just went to do Shimmering Isles, and I just couldn't finish it. Just got bored and just didn't finish it. Made new characters, tried to make really high level characters, just screw around, never actually finish completing the quest line for Shimmering Isles. Shimmering Isles. Well, jump forward into Skyrim, and same thing. Played all of Skyrim, completed the main story, did the Civil War, did as many quests as I could, did Dawnguard, did Hearthfire. So I got all the houses for Hearthfire, started building all the houses. That took forever, even though I gave the game at least for the first house, I gave it maybe like 2-3 months in game time to build the house with a steward I put there. In that time, they decorated one room, even though I gave them hundreds of thousands of gold. So, the Hearthfire was just a weird experience altogether. I did not get Dragonborn at all for Xbox 360. I don't have the DLC at all on my Xbox. Never downloaded it, never bought it. I didn't get it until, let's see. I got Skyrim for PC probably a few months before Dragonborn came out in general. So I was already playing on PC, and at that time I just had Hearthfire and Dawnguard, and I think I bought Dragonborn. Yeah, I think I actually bought Dragonborn when it came out for PC. Because I think I'm gonna play it. Never got around to it. I've never done the Dragonborn questline at all. Are you the Dragonborn? Get attacked. Oh, I'm gonna take this boat to Silphicil, and that. Sorry, what is Silphicil? No, it's not Silphicil. To the island. I can't. Like I said, I don't do that quest line, so I don't even know the name of the island. I got there, and that was pretty much as far as I did. I have started the game off there with Living the Life. That was fun. I don't know. This has become more of a ramble about me doing different mod things, which is fine. It's on brand for me at this point. Just rambling off into different avenues of thought as I talk, because if I try to stay on one topic long enough, eventually I burn myself out because I'm trying to continue talking about the topic. Allow myself to wander this way and that way is better for me overall. Yes, it makes my videos seem well, it actually does, makes my videos more unordered, more insane, but overall it helps me with just talking. That's the biggest issue is either I would love to do long form content with someone else, with other people. I would love to do it, but the issue I think I have is there's only so much I can do on my own. And if I'm having to hold the whole conversation for both people, that's an issue. That's one reason why streaming with, trying to do content with someone else before for Magic the Gathering was a pain in the ass. Because I only know so much about Magic the Gathering, and there's, yeah, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. Sorry. Throat's getting dry because not much sleep, as usual. But essentially, hopefully I can get most of the mod. I'm hoping I can get the mod working tonight, so I can at least test to make sure everything's running and see if there's anything else I need to install. But if it turns into a big issue where there's just no way to get it working without installing like 10 or 12 new mods, it might be safer for me to just go ahead and uninstall all the mods for Skyrim and just reinstall everything from scratch. Just delete the entire mod list. It will be time consuming, yes. Very time consuming. Extremely time consuming. But the more I delete mods and add new mods and stuff like that, the more I feel like I run the risk of my game just perpetually being broken. I don't know yet. I'll figure that part out when I get there. Ideally, I'm hoping to. I am hoping to have most of this stuff working here soon, because I'm excited to try to stream onto TikTok, because my computer can handle it now. My computer has a CPU that can actually handle multiple things at once now, which is fantastic, and I'm excited for it. Gonna try working on more short content such as shorts for both TikTok and YouTube here in the near future. It may or may not be AI. It depends on what I feel comfortable doing. Anyway, have a good one. I'm trying. There you go. Found it. Bye bye. I said bye bye.